Interesting and important channel in material editor in a standard material is displacement. This channel, it's like a bump, but the bump and normal are fake 3D, but displacement is a real displaced object. For example, I have an give a plane, give a simple plane and a simple sphere. For seeing the displacement, you have to render your object. For example, I give a material to this plane and double click and activate displacement. Activate render region to see what happened there. In a displacement, first you have to assign a texture. This is an, again, black and white code. For example, I load an image, load a simple image, or you can, for example, load simple noise. You can see it displaced object. In a simple noise, you can add contrast. Again, it's bring the black down, the white up, and the gray in between. But in this case, we can control which part going up and which part going down. I'll explain it in a second. In displacement, because it's really displaced objects, it's sensitive to this plane segment. If you want to better displacement object, you have to increase the number of your segment. Now you can see we have nice displaced object. Okay, for better seeing that, I load and it's my name here. You can clear and load an image. Okay, I load an image and you can see this is in displacement. Make sure that you assign to the plane. Yes. You can change it to intensity or intensity center. Okay, we have segment. For better seeing that, you can increase or decrease the number of the height. You can see it's bring object completely. You can see this angle. You can see HRT. You can activate sub poly displacement. Now you can see image. If you something like that, you cannot see your displacement, you have to activate sub polygon displacement to better displace your object. It's very important. And you can add subdivision to that to better seeing this. For example, we have issues here. You can add a subdivision level to smoothing your object. You can see it has black and white code. This is intensity center. You can see we have better, but make sure make sure that you have powerful system, because it's really displaced object and polygons. But you have to see in the render. You can see I have a gray, white, and black. From here you can change the height. For example, if you don't want, you can change the height to decrease the number of the height. You can see, nice. Or you can see a string, change a strength power of this tool. So sub polygon displacement in this case is important. Let's talk about the type. The intensity type, look at this image, you can better see here. I deactivate render. You can see in the displacement you have to go into render. So we have two types here. I don't want to talk about them, but most important thing is intensity and intensity center. What's the difference between them? For example, you can see we have an image here. We have a gray here, then white, then black, and then a gradient. It's going from white to the black. Intensity center. Center means it's center the gray. For example, here you can see it's center the gray. It's it's maintained in a surface of the object. Then this is on white code. It's bring up the white code, then bring back this negative number black. So it's center gray, one, give a one to the white and negative one to the black, based on a height, that you input here, for example 10 centimeter. So it's bring up 10 centimeter white, negative 10 centimeter black, and it's give a slope here because it's going from the white to the black with this gradient. So you can use the gradient to something like. But intensity, in the intensity, it's bring the gray at the 0. Okay, in the intensity big gray in 0. No, I think it's bring the it's black in a 0 and the white at a 1, and the gray is in between them. Yeah, sorry for that. There's a difference between intensity and intensity center. You can see in this image. So white parts always going down, and you can see a gray and the white. The gray is starting from the black to white. Okay, let's talk about another thing. If you want to assign this texture to a rounded object, something like that, let's waiting to render. Okay, you can see we cannot see our object, because if you go to the sphere, we have an important tick here. It's a render perfect. If you change any subdivision, it just renders. For example, if I delete that texture here and change the subdivision to, for example, this, you can see we have a very bad polygony object, but it's always render your object perfect. Let's delete that also. You can see just perfect. But if you deactivate render perfect, you can see the object is based on the smoothing the object is based on the segment. Now, in this case, you can see your displacement here. So be careful about that. If you bring it to this segment, it's depend on the sphere, depend on the segment, and you can see your displacement here. Again, you can back to displacement, and if you want see better in a rounded object, you can activate rounded geometry. Round geometry is in a 2D, and the round contour is a 3D. It's in a 2D. Activate that, and you can see we have perfect object. So round geometry is for 3D. Nice. Okay, we delete the texture from that, and now we are going to our 3D object and 2D object. So we can see our texture here, and it's a round contour. Let's see. Let's do that. We zoom here. It's rounding the contour, the edges. Interactive render. Going to do the render. You can see it's round the edges. If you deactivate that, now we have sharp edges here. We have to wait. Now you can see we have a sharp. Okay. Let's deactivate that. Map rounded geometry and map resulting. Okay, for understanding that, no, it's resulting. For example, in this case, we have a round object that we give this displacement to that. You may notice it's not black and white because it's give the color code to that. Okay, it's in color channel. You can see this map is stretching in corners, but if you activate the mapped rounded geometry that is in a default, you can see it remapping this noise at the edges and are not stretched like this. So this is map. Map resulting geometry means, for example, in something like that. You can see we give a noise to this object, and this object has a texture on it before we displacement. So you can see the texture of in a displacement area are stretched. If you map result geometry, it's recalculating the texture, and the texture are going without any stretch or distorting on a displaced object. But in some cases we don't need that because we want to stretch our texture. Okay, in some cases we want to do that. It's by you can activate it, but it's in default map resulting geometry or turn off. Keep original edges is very important because when we have a box object, something like that, and then we are increasing the number of the subdivision level, and it's smoothing the edges. In some cases we don't want that, so you can activate that, and it's keep original edge sharp. The best distribution you can see in this image. For example, we have a cube and give a noise to this object, and you can see in the corner it cannot detect the corner, and it's stretch our displacement. If you activate this option, best distribution, for the best distribution active, you have to turn off round geometry, and you can activate or deactivate the best distribution if you want. Now you can see if you activated that, we recognize this distribution normals, not like that. So this is all about displacement. It's very interesting and powerful, but make sure that you have powerful system, because I'm recording, my system is going to be slow. Please don't forget to visit our TutorialCells apps channel. In this channel, we are introducing Android application and learn how to use them.